But the first thing we're going to go ahead and start out with the same thing we always do, and that's going to be the game of the week. Because we're doing this on Monday, we probably, if this was Tuesday, we'd probably do it on the Chiefs Bucks, but we're going to go ahead and do it on the Bills Dolphins, which was equally as good as a game, with Tyler Bass hitting a game-winning 61-yard field goal to seal the game for the Buffalo Bills. Let's go ahead and start out with our MVP and our unsung hero of the game. Drew, you want to go ahead and start this one off for us with that MVP?
Yeah, I'm going to go unsung. The only reason, because you just mentioned him, Mr. Tyler Bass. Tyler Bass has been terrible.
Yes.
They worked out kickers during the week. He missed field goals in this game. He missed field goals last week. And if you guys have the mental fortitude to think about back to the playoffs last year, he missed a super critical field goal in the playoffs last year. So he's been terrible. And Sean McDermott trots him out there for a 61-yard field goal. And you know why he made it is because there's no pressure on a 61-yard field goal. If you miss a 61-yard field goal, it is what it is. That's 61 yards. Unless you're Brandon Aubrey, then it's automatic. But if it's 61 yards, that's why there's no pressure. He kicks it in. They win the game. Unsung hero, Tyler Bass, incredible kick. Hopefully it gives him a little confidence moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to go for my unsung hero. I'm going to go on the other side of the teams, the losing team on this one. This is why he's the unsung hero, is because he did end up losing. But Tua ended up going 25 for 28, 231 yards and 2 touchdowns. This team, even though they've lost the last 2 weeks, this team is different with Tua under center. I think outside of everything that has to do with Tua off the field, in terms of his head injuries and what he should or should not be doing off the field, on the field, all that stuff, this team is different, and he's showing with how bad this team was without him and how good it is with him that he deserves that contract that he got paid. Now, again, that's outside of the injury, the head stuff. Of we take all that out, Tua deserved that contract, and he's proving it 2 weeks in a row. Yes, losing, but this team is different with him under center. So I'm going to go with Tua as my unsung hero. Again, unsung because they did end up losing, unfortunately.
I'm going to say this to you. Any week that passes by, any football week that passes by, where we don't have Tua lying on the ground, unconsciously crip walking, that's going to be, he's going to be my unsung hero, because I don't know if he should be back on the field. If it's Drew Taylor and I'm a millionaire, $250 million in my pocket, I'm retiring. I'll take my $100 million and I'll walk. So, but I'm sure he's had long, tough conversations with his team, his personal team, his family, his wife, and he's decided to keep giving it a go. And the whole stadium gave him a standing ovation last week when he slid. That was fantastic.
Well, we got to talk about that for this last week. So
shout out to him.
Yeah, definitely. MVP, do we have the same person?
The guy that went 7 of 9 for 97 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Blitz?
Yeah, it definitely is.
Okay, good. Because do you know that Josh Allen is a fantastic quarterback, and he will carry a goddamn team to the top no matter how much you believe in the Browns? Josh Allen is him. He is Himothy, okay? Josh Himothy Allen, okay? Do you know how many games they've won in a row?
How many? Yeah, look at that.
Do you know what Sean McDermott's record all-time against the Dolphins is?
Oh, it has to be really good.
I'll give you the wins.
Okay.
15. How many times do you think he's lost?
1? 2. Damn.
He's 15-2 against... Bro, that 15-2 against a team, that's Diddy domination right there, man. Like, that is just like
crazy.
Like the Dolphins, when they see the Bills coming down the road, they stock the baby oil, bro. They don't even wait for the Bills to bring it. They already got it stocked up because Josh Allen's come to town. Time to smack us around.
Yeah, no, we have the same person for our MVP. We don't have to dive too much. I mean, I think it's anytime we've talked about this time in and time out when it comes to Josh Allen and the Bills, is Josh Allen's going to take the Bills as far as his back can take them. And right now his back seems to be doing perfectly fine. So yeah, he has to be the MVP. Anytime we have a game of the week like this, he's probably going to be the MVP if they end up winning, which Drew just mentioned, 6 in a row. And so he has to be the MVP. What about the takeaways outside of the Josh Allen and the unsung hero stuff for the Bills? Because they did win. We always start out with the winners. What are your other takeaways for this team, for this game? What did you really see?
You know what I saw? I saw the Bills actually not play that well in the first half. And I was like, the Dolphins with Tua are still a legit threat. They've had a ton of injuries this year. I'd say pretty much every single one of their offensive threats at one point or another has been hobbled this year. Tua comes back, despite the record, they're still a super big threat. So during that first half, I was like, man, I feel personally connected to the Bills right now because I've campaigned for them so hard. I don't want them to look like shit. If Josh Allen comes out and throws like 4 interceptions in a playoff game, I know all the heads are coming for me from this. Do you know how many people reached out to me over this weekend and said, hey, tell me you're going to cook them on the podcast about the Cowboys. Tell them you're going to cook them. So I know people listen because they're reaching out to me to find out what I'm going to say to you about the Cowboys. So I know the second the Bills start sucking, the second Josh Allen does something stupid, my phone's going to be like, ding, ding, ding. So in that first half, I was a little nervous because it wasn't looking great. And I looked up the standings. I was like, man, if the Dolphins win this game, what's their path to the playoffs? Can they get there, et cetera, et cetera? I think this is it.
I'm with you.
I looking at the schedule and a couple other things, and they weren't even playing that well to begin with, even when Tua was healthy before. I don't see a path for them. But
the tail end of their schedule is so difficult. It's either you're playing playoff aspiration teams, or you're playing outdoor cold weather teams for like the last 5 to 6 weeks of the year. So it doesn't look good for the Dolphins. And we had this discussion when we were going over our predictions for the AFC that the Dolphins would have a tough road ahead of them, especially at the end. I had them losing 5 or 6 in a row at the end because, again, playoff dominant teams or outdoor cold weather. The mixture is just not going to go well for Miami. It never has gone well for Tua in this team, and it's going to stay that way. For me, when it comes to the Bills and the takeaways, the Bills locked up their 5th straight division title, right? With this one, it's only halfway through the season. They're 7-2. You have the Patriots who aren't good at all. You have the Jets who aren't
spoiler
good,
alert,
aren't good at all. But it's very evident about this last win that, again, 5th straight title. And then the other thing is, my one concern with the Bills is going to be the run defense. It definitely needs major improvements, wherever that comes from, whether it's coaching or an addition before the trade deadline, which is tomorrow. Whatever form it comes in, that needs to be the major concern, because your number one enemy in the AFC is going to be the Ravens. And the Ravens are a run-heavy, a talented run team. And if you can't do much there, you're not going to have any chance. So that needs to be the biggest improvement for me.
And just for everyone who is wondering, since it's Monday night, if something crazy happens tomorrow, we'll be back for a quick little coverage. When the 49ers trade for insert bargain player here, and we're going to go off like Chase Young is an MVP type caliber player. Now, if the 49ers trade for the equivalent of Christian McCaffrey, we're going to be back. We're going to be on this podcast talking about it, but I just don't see that player out there this year. So unless, a certain edge rusher for the Raiders gets moved, that'd be crazy.
That's your favorite talking point for the last 3 or 4 weeks, I feel like.
Because I just think it's I think who's the biggest player that could be moved? We knew Christian McCaffrey was getting traded that year. The Rams and the 49ers were in on it, right?
Yeah.
It's just been so quiet this year. I don't think there's any super huge, the Texans don't seem like they're in the market for a wide receiver, which might be a mistake. And there just doesn't seem like any super big player that's going to get moved right now. So if something massive happens, we got to talk about it. And really, if you survey the landscape, Max Crosby seems like we don't need a 20-minute podcast to talk about Buda Baker. You know what I mean? That's cool. But that, last year, the Eagles trade for Kevin Byard. We're like, he's old. That doesn't mean anything. Trading for a safety doesn't change much. So
right. Looking at the other side and looking at the Dolphins for their takeaways, my couple of things is, it has to be Tua still doesn't know how to protect himself. He dove head first on a crucial down in the 4th quarter, and I have outside of just not being able to protect himself, still, again, you picked up the first down. It was crucial and you needed to, but you dove head first once again. And I know you want a ball. You're a baller. You've been doing this since you've been shitting and pissing your pants, but you don't need to make everyone shit and piss their pants by every single time that you go head first into someone that you're not going to get back up. You're terrifying every single person in the stadium in America watching the Dolphins play. So Tua still doesn't know how to protect himself. He still just kind of goes out there without a care in the world, and it's definitely concerning. And outside of that, I just have a couple of questions about the pair of pass catchers out there in Miami not performing well this season, both on pace to be sub 1,000 yard seasons for the first time since being paired up. Obviously, talking about Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. So both those guys are paid and they make a lot of money. I just have questions about that. Not playing very well, and again, being on pace for sub 1,000 yard seasons for both of them, again for the first time since being paired up. So, just some questions there.
I just looked up the stats, not the counting stats because I don't really care about that. But the Buffalo Bills are a bottom 6 run defense PFF, and they're a bottom 5 pass coverage PFF. That's all the more reason why Josh Allen's MVP candidate, baby, 6 in a row. They got some company down there on the run defense. Two teams that are very close to us. Apparently, their teams in Texas and teams in San Francisco can't stop the run either for it to shit.
I know.
So,
with me, week in, week out, I know.